Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It's just a beautiful day, isn't it? Anyway, let's talk you and me. I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm laughing. Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. Here's the story this morning. Inflation continues to surge out of control. Online prices rising at their fastest pace ever. And it's just not going to stop, people. Look, the propaganda ministry is trying to sell you yet another lie again. And that is that inflation may be peaking. I don't even know how they come up with this stuff. In no way, shape, or form is inflation peaking, meaning we're all of a sudden going to miraculously come down. The mechanism is in place to continue to fuel a massive amount of inflation. There's a tsunami coming at us, people. You all know that. But again, you must be lied to. You must be propagandized. It's a terrible thing to see. Anyway, so on the back of, again, these are the numbers here. So consumer prices surged 8.5% in March, and the cost of online prices surged at a record pace. It's, again, look. It's just so crazy that people are not taking any action. There's no uproar. People are sitting here and they're just getting smacked across the face repeatedly, backhanded, and they're not doing anything. Why? Because they've been lulled into a sense of, they've been zombified. They've been turned into freaks, zombies, who will just tolerate anything, little compliant freaks, like I've said recently. Anyway, so that's the story with this big inflation number that everyone was waiting for. And you know, look, you and I, we knew this was going to be an abysmal number, and it was. On the back of that, crude oil is back up around $100 a barrel. As a matter of fact, listen to this. So OPEC here is warning. This is exactly what they're warning. OPEC says that the oil market should be prepared for a major shock. Really? Well, that doesn't sound too good now, does it? But you and I already know where this is going. They're trying to warn us, I guess. No, this isn't a warning. This is a promise that crude oil and energy prices are going to skyrocket. They are. I mean, we got this pullback here recently with regard to crude oil, but it's going much higher. Energy producers, you know this all already, as the dollar continues to nosedive. And I'm not talking about people. I read the comments and I do check my email box. You have to discern relative strength of the dollar and absolute strength. The relative strength compares the dollar to other currencies, and that is the Dixie. I explain this all the time, but some of you just don't get it. So yes, the relative strength of the dollar relative to other currencies is going to remain high. Okay, but its absolute strength is cratering, and you need proof? Look at inflation. I mean, come on now. I don't understand it. But anyway, I think about it. There is relative strength and absolute strength. I've covered this a million times, but it looks like some of you need to understand what's actually going on here. So, before I move forward, what do all of you think about this warning here from OPEC? A potential major shock to energy prices. Can I get a duh, please? Yeah, we know it's coming. This is no doubt about it. We are already in an energy crisis, and that crisis, like every other one, is going to be prolonged, it's going to be fueled, and cash is going to get thrown at it. That's the mechanism here. Okay, so on the back of the abysmal economic news, crude oil surging higher yet again, we have stock futures higher across the board. Lovely. So what does that mean? It looks, as of the time of this video blog, trading doesn't start for about 32 minutes, that stocks are poised for a jump higher at the open. Let's look at a couple of other things. 10-year yield 2.71. Okay. Market seems to like it here, but You can count on the 10-year yield rising. What's the market doing, people? What's the market doing? It's pricing in further rate hikes. I sincerely believe we are going to be over 3%. You knew. We discussed it here that the 10-year yield would settle above 2. We have clearly done that. The market is making its way with a 10-year yield to 3. Just be ready for it. What does it mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, it's not going to make anyone's life any easier here, but financial stocks should benefit nicely moving forward. Is that a good thing? Well, it depends if you're in banks and other financial related stocks, but people are going to get crushed. What did we find out just yesterday, people? It's horrible what's going on. People are being charged by their banks because they are not maintaining minimum balances in their accounts. They can't do it. And that is a clear sign to me, despite the fact that American citizens and people around the world continue to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow more. They can't even maintain minimum balances in their savings and checking accounts. And banks are charging fees for this. I'll tell you, what a twisted system we are in. Anyway, with that said, we got cryptocurrencies catching a bid right now as well. We got gold and silver catching a bid as well. If you were, and I hope you are, to pay attention to the dynamics that are occurring, this is everything that you and I would have expected to happen. So I don't think that any of this is a surprise. And I don't want you to be surprised about this warning here from OPEC, a major shock. You know, look, it's crazy the stuff we're hearing. Yesterday we got this warning from the European Central Bank preparing for a possible blowout in bond yields. You and I clearly realize that this is going to happen. We will face a moment of implosion. They're calling it a blowout in the debt market. Anyone that doesn't see this coming is either has either been lulled into a sense of like they have no idea what's going on, or anything else. This is all leading to a climax, people. You know this better than anybody else, and you got to keep your eye on the debt market because it's the driver. And central banks are going to continue to fuel this. Look, I don't care, and you know this to be true. Whatever comes out of the mouth of a central banker, the polar opposite is generally true. If they tell you that they really care about inflation and they're going to do something about it, realize they're going to continue to fuel it. And they're going to use the crisis to crisis to crisis mechanism to keep it going. So look, ignore the dog shit, bird shit, cat shit, whatever they're going to fish feed you, it's all crap. And the environment we are in is very clear. Central banks are going to continue to inflate. They're going to move from crisis to crisis to crisis. You're going to see, all kinds of stuff thrown at you and things you can't even believe, people. Like I've told you for years, to keep this mechanism of the debt-based economic model alive. And nobody, and I mean nobody, knows this better than you do. All right, so look, in summary here, what did we find out? An abysmal economic report on inflation, which continues to surge, and there is no end in sight. So if you just happen to be watching one of the propaganda ministries today, and they parade out some freak to try to explain to you that, inflation is peaking, you're being lied to yet again. How can they come up with that? Where do they conjure this stuff up from? How do they expect inflation to stop surging? Really, is because the Fed is going to so aggressively be raising rates? Is the Fed really going to taper? No. Is the Fed going to unwind their balance sheet? No. Is the Fed going to stop buying assets? No. Are we going to stop the crisis to crisis to crisis freaking economic model that we have now? That's what we have. A crisis to crisis to crisis economic model to keep the system going. And they're going to splatter human guts all over this world. to make sure that the debt-based economic model stays in place. That means expansion of current wars, adding new wars on top of this, whatever they got to do, people, because you and me, we are just a means to an end, okay, to the machine. And the machine will be kept oiled with the blood and guts of human beings, children, babies, wives, sons, daughters, husbands. That's how it's going to go. And they'll kill millions of people, millions and tens of millions to keep the system going. It's a horrible thing. All right, look, I'm out of here. I hope you got something out of this video blog. Please, you know what I love lately? I've been getting a lot more comments here, and I read the comments. I really do. I try to answer some of these things, and I love the way some of your brains out here work. You really do understand the situation, and you're doing something about it, and that is the main thing. Take action, people. You know what to do here in this environment. It's an absolute freak show, but that does not mean that we need to be destroyed by it. We're going to turn the tables on everyone, and that's exactly what we've been doing, betting against the debt, preparing for the blowout in the debt market that the ECB is warning about you and I. That's why we're holding precious metals, gold, more specifically physical silver. Why, in my opinion, we are also holding cryptocurrencies, because I sincerely believe the market cap of cryptos is going to balloon when we get the blowout in the debt market here. In the meantime, we take advantage of the stock market, staying long, being in large cap dividend paying stocks. All this is listed on my website for you. Ticker symbols and everything, traderschoice.net. All right, I'm really out of here. Love you a lot. I'll see you later.